What if the daily walk you have trusted for decades is actually failing your body after age 75? Before we dive in, please note this video is for educational purposes and not a substitute for professional medical advice. Walking is fantastic for your heart and keeps you mobile, but after 75, your body undergoes hidden changes. You might think you are doing enough, but walking is merely a repetitive forward movement. It does not train your reaction speed or the explosive muscle power needed to catch yourself if you suddenly stumble. As an orthopedic surgeon, I have reviewed thousands of patient scans and rehabilitation cases. The pattern I see is shocking. Seniors who walk every single day are still losing leg power. They still struggle to get up from the sofa, and they still experience devastating falls. Why does this happen? Because walking does not recruit the deep stabilizers around your spine and pelvis. Your power fibers and balance reflexes are the first systems to decline, not your endurance. Researchers tracking seniors in their late 70s found that step counts alone do not predict independent living. Specific strength does. And the most protective movements are actually done while seated. Chair-based exercises safely target your core, knee strength, and nervous system without stressing fragile joints. In this video, I will reveal 5 surgeon-approved chair exercises that outperform walking for protecting your independence. We will rank them from the least powerful to the most transformative. You must stay with me until the very end, because exercise number 2 specifically activates the muscles that prevent sudden falls, and number 1 is the ultimate key to staying out of assisted living. All supporting research is linked below. Before we start our countdown, tell me honestly in the comments, do you feel stronger today than you did 3 years ago, or a little less steady? Let me know below, and let us get started with number 5. Now let us start with number 5, seated calf raises. This chair movement might look completely harmless, yet it quietly trains one of the most overlooked muscles in the aging body. Honestly, this one movement alone is worth its weight in gold if you have been dealing with swollen ankles, cold feet, or that heavy, tired feeling in your lower legs by the end of the day. From an educational perspective, we must reframe how we view our lower legs. We often consider the heart as the only pump, but your calf muscles act as what doctors call your second heart. Every time they contract, they physically squeeze the veins, pushing blood back up toward your heart against gravity. When you sit or stand for long periods without engaging these muscles, blood pools in your extremities, causing swelling, discomfort, and potentially contributing to dangerous conditions like deep vein thrombosis. The scientific evidence is profound. A study published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology revealed that repetitive calf contractions performed while seated increased venous blood flow velocity by up to 60% compared to sitting still. That is 60% more blood moving safely through your legs from one simple movement. Here is how you can perform this safely at home. Sit tall in your chair with feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Your knees should be bent at roughly 90 degrees. Slowly press through the balls of your feet and lift both heels as high as you can off the ground. You should feel your calf muscles tighten and squeeze at the top. Hold that top position for a full 2 seconds, focusing on that squeeze. Then lower your heels back down slowly with control. Do not just let them drop. The lowering phase is where huge strengthening happens because your muscles are resisting gravity. This eccentric phase is highly effective for building strength in older adults. Aim for 3 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions at least 5 days per week. To make it more challenging over time, place a heavy book across your thighs to add resistance. Within just a few weeks, most people notice their ankles are less swollen, their feet feel warmer, and their legs feel 10 years younger. The next exercise targets something even more important than your calves. And trust me, you do not want to skip it. Before we continue, make sure to hit like and subscribe because what is coming up next is too important to miss. Number 4 on our list is seated marching. Now this one might look incredibly simple and you might think there is no way something this basic can make a real difference to your physical health. But the medical science says otherwise, and your body will feel the undeniable proof within days. From an educational and clinical viewpoint, we need to understand that cardiovascular health and joint mobility go hand in hand as we age. Seated marching is a low-impact cardiovascular exercise that simultaneously strengthens your hip flexors, improves your range of motion in the hip joint, and gets your heart rate elevated enough to deliver legitimate aerobic benefits. All of this is safely achieved without putting a single ounce of stress on your fragile knees or your lower back. A study conducted at the University of Wisconsin found that older adults who performed seated marching for just 10 minutes a day showed measurable improvements in their resting heart rate and blood oxygen levels after only 6 weeks. Furthermore, their hip flexibility improved by an average of 14 degrees. Educationally speaking, this is a massive gain because even a few degrees of lost hip mobility can completely change how you walk, how you get out of a chair, and how safely you can navigate climbing stairs. Here is exactly how to perform this movement safely at home. Sit toward the front edge of your sturdy chair so your back is completely straight but not leaning against the backrest. Place your hands firmly on the sides of the chair or rest them gently on your thighs. Now lift your right knee up towards your chest as high as you comfortably can, keeping your foot flexed, meaning your toes are pointing up. Lower that leg back to the starting position with complete control and immediately lift your left knee up. That is one complete repetition. You want to establish a steady, rhythmic pace, almost like you are marching in a parade from the comfort of your living room. The key to getting the true cardiovascular benefit is maintaining a pace that is fast enough to slightly elevate your breathing. Start with 2 minutes of continuous marching and work your way up to 10 minutes. This exercise directly trains the exact movement pattern you use when taking a step, making your actual walking much safer. I want to hear from you right now. Have you noticed your hips feeling stiffer when you try to walk or climb stairs recently? Share your experience and let me know down in the comments below. Now, if you thought those improvements in your hips were impressive, what we are covering next addresses the single biggest fear most seniors face, and it is an absolute game changer. Number 3 on our list is seated leg extensions. From a medical and educational standpoint, we must talk about why falls happen. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65, sending roughly 3 million older adults to emergency rooms every single year. The vast majority of these falls happen because of one specific issue: weak quadriceps muscles. Your quadriceps are the large, powerful muscles on the front of your thighs. They are completely responsible for locking your knee when you stand, stabilizing your leg when you step on uneven ground, and catching your body weight if you stumble. When these muscles weaken with age, which they absolutely will if you do not actively train them, your knees become horribly unstable and your risk of falling skyrockets. Seated leg extensions isolate and strengthen the quadriceps in a way that almost no other chair exercise can match. A study published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy demonstrated that seniors who performed seated leg extensions 3 times per week for 8 weeks experienced a 27% increase in quadriceps strength and a massive 41% reduction in self-reported near-fall incidents. Educationally, those numbers are staggering because they translate to real-life safety. Here is exactly how to perform this exercise. Sit all the way back in your chair so your spine is fully supported against the backrest. Grip the sides of the chair lightly. Start with your feet flat on the floor and your knees bent at 90 degrees. Now slowly straighten your right leg out in front of you until it is completely straight and parallel to the floor. As you extend your leg, flex your foot hard by pulling your toes back toward your shin. This educational detail is crucial because it activates more muscle fibers in your thigh and engages your tibialis anterior, the muscle on your shin that is critical for balance. Hold your leg in that extended position for 3 to 5 seconds. You should feel your thigh working hard, and if it trembles a little, that is completely normal. Lower your leg back down slowly, taking a full 3 seconds. Complete 10 to 12 repetitions before switching sides. The slower you go, the stronger your knees become, and within a month, you might find yourself standing from a low couch without using your hands at all. And speaking of functional strength that keeps you independent, the next exercise protects something you absolutely cannot afford to lose as you age. Number 2 on our countdown is seated torso twists. From an educational and anatomical perspective, we need to address one of the biggest misconceptions in fitness today. When most people hear the word core, they immediately picture abdominal muscles or a six-pack on a young athlete. But for older adults, your core is an entire system of muscles that wraps around your midsection like a natural corset. It includes your abdominals in the front, your obliques on the sides, your deep transverse abdominis that acts like an internal weight belt, and the multifidus muscles along your spine. Educationally speaking, these muscles have one critical job, which is stabilizing your spine with every single movement you make. Every time you reach into a high cabinet, bend down to pick up a dropped key, turn to look behind you while backing out of the driveway, or simply stand up from a chair, your core has to fire to protect your spine. If it does not, you are at serious risk of a debilitating back injury. A study published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that core weakness is one of the top 3 predictors of future back injury and functional decline in adults over 70. That is why this educational information is so crucial for your longevity. The seated torso twist is one of the safest and most effective exercises for strengthening these often neglected rotational muscles. Doing it from a chair means your lower back is fully supported and protected the entire time. Here is how you can perform this safely. Sit tall in the middle of your chair with your feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Cross your arms over your chest so your right hand rests on your left shoulder and your left hand on your right shoulder. You can also hold a small pillow against your chest for added resistance. Now, keeping your hips completely still and facing forward, slowly rotate your entire upper body to the right as far as you comfortably can. You should feel a deep stretch and contraction through your side and into your back. Hold that position for 2 seconds, then slowly rotate all the way to the left. The absolute key to making this exercise effective is keeping your hips anchored. Think of it like wringing out a wet towel. Your lower body is one hand staying completely still, and your upper body is the other hand twisting. That wringing motion is what forces your spinal stabilizers to work. Aim for 15 to 20 full twists to each side for 3 sets. Research from the Journal of Biomechanics shows that rotational core exercises improve what scientists call anticipatory postural adjustments. This means your body gets better at automatically bracing and protecting your spine before you even begin a movement, dramatically reducing your risk of sudden injuries. Everyday tasks, like getting dressed or reaching for shelves, will feel significantly easier within weeks. If you are finding this medical and educational breakdown helpful for protecting your future, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss out on these life-changing senior health tips. Now, everything we have covered so far has been building to this exact moment. The exercises we just discussed are incredibly valuable, but they are all supporting players to the absolute pinnacle of senior health. Number 1 on our countdown is the sit-to-stand movement. From a medical and educational standpoint, this is not just another exercise. It is the single most important movement any person over 75 can perform. Orthopedic surgeons, geriatric specialists, and physical therapists across the entire world have universally designated this as the gold standard test for functional fitness in older adults. It is quite literally the foundation of independent living. Think about your average day. You sit to eat breakfast, use the toilet, or rest on a couch, and you must stand back up. The ability to transition from sitting to standing safely without assistance is the most vital physical skill you need to maintain as you age. When you lose this fundamental ability, your entire lifestyle changes. The scientific research supporting this is sobering. A landmark study by the American College of Sports Medicine tracked over 2,000 adults over 75. They found that participants who could not complete 8 sit-to-stand repetitions in 30 seconds were 5 times more likely to require assisted living within 2 years. However, those who practiced this movement 3 to 5 times per week showed a massive 38% improvement in functional independence scores over 12 weeks. Harvard Medical School professor Dr. Jonathan Bean specifically calls this the most clinically relevant exercise for predicting and preserving functional independence. Educationally, we must understand why this is so effective. This single movement works more muscles simultaneously than any other chair exercise. Your quadriceps and glutes do the heavy lifting to push you up. Your core fires to stabilize your fragile spine. Your calf muscles assist with keeping you balanced, and even your deep back muscles are engaged as postural stabilizers. It is a complete full-body workout disguised as something incredibly simple. You are not just training an abstract muscle in a gym machine. You are practicing the exact life-saving movement you need to do dozens of times every single day. Here is how to perform it with perfect clinical form. First, position your sturdy chair against a wall so it absolutely cannot slide backward. Sit toward the front half of the seat with your feet flat on the floor, slightly wider than hip width apart. Turn your toes out slightly, perhaps 10 to 15 degrees, which opens up your hips for a much safer and more natural movement. Now lean your chest forward and press firmly through your entire foot, driving through your heels to stand up. The critical mistake most people make here is using dangerous momentum by rocking violently forward and throwing themselves up. Do not do that. Instead, take a full 2 to 3 seconds to rise smoothly. Once you are fully standing, squeeze your glutes at the top and stand tall for a brief second. Then you must slowly lower yourself back down with that exact same control, taking another 2 to 3 seconds on the way down. Do not simply plop or collapse back into the seat. That controlled lowering phase is exactly where enormous strength is built. If standing up from the chair is very difficult at first, you can place a firm cushion on the seat to raise your starting height, making it much easier. As you get stronger, simply remove the cushion. If you want to make it more challenging, you can hold a water bottle against your chest or place one hand behind your back to reduce the temptation to push off the armrests. Start with 3 sets of 5 repetitions and gradually work up to 3 sets of 15. I strongly encourage you to do this one specific exercise every single day. Make it as routine as brushing your teeth, because your future self will thank you in ways you cannot even imagine. So there you have it. We have just covered 5 surgeon-approved chair exercises that science shows are more effective than simply walking for protecting your independence after age 75. Let us do a quick recap. We started with seated calf raises to pump blood back to your heart. Then we moved to seated marching to strengthen your cardiovascular system and loosen tight hips. Third was seated leg extensions to build critical knee stability and stop devastating falls. Fourth, we practiced torso twists to engage your true core and protect your vulnerable spine. Finally, we covered the sit-to-stand movement, which is the absolute gold standard for maintaining your ability to live independently. From an educational standpoint, the most valuable lesson I can give you today is about consistency. You do not need to do all 5 of these exercises in a single session. Instead, start with just 1 or 2 movements. Master the correct form we discussed and slowly add more as you build your confidence and physical strength. Remember that getting older does not mean you must lose your freedom. Every single day you choose to perform these exercises is a day you are actively investing in a stronger and safer future. I want to hear your thoughts right now. Which of these 5 exercises are you going to try first? Leave a comment below and let me know. If this educational breakdown brought you value, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We release new evidence-based health content every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.